Hi, this is Courtney Chapole with the West Central Indiana Small Business Development Center, and we are partnering with the Terre Haute Chamber of Commerce to bring a refocus series. So right now, we know that during these uncertain times, we have a lot of business owners that are struggling to figure out how to remain open and how the future is going to look. And we do have resources that are available to help with those things as well, but we thought it might be good to do a couple of sessions on maybe some things that businesses have had the best intentions to do, but we all get busy as business owners, working in the business instead of on the business. So some things that always wanted to do, and maybe now you found yourself with some time on your hands, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, that you might be able to stop and put some new processes into place. So what we're looking at today is standard operating procedures. So every business should have standard operating procedures. And to be honest, most do, and they just kind of lie in the heads of business owners or the employees that have been there for, 10, 15 years. It is really important that we write down those standard operating procedures. One, it helps so much in efficiency when training new employees. If we actually have documentation they can stop and they can look at. One, it makes sure that they are trained appropriately, and two, it takes the time off of the business owner or off of those that are responsible for training, and it just helps consistency overall within your business. So no matter if you are a one employee, self-employed person, or if you have 5 employees, if you're a restaurant or an accounting firm, you can absolutely benefit from having some standard operating procedures in place. If you are in any type of business that has a cost of goods sold, so you're putting together products, I'm going to use a restaurant, for example, it's really important that you have standard operating procedures. I mean, obviously there's regulations you have to meet, but by having a section that is focused on what we call kind of build out cards for your restaurant that talks about exactly, how much sauce you use or how much cheese you use, and you actually take the time to write that out. Again, it helps with consistency of your overall product, helps to make sure your costs are in line. But even if you don't have a tangible product, it's really important to have all of this together. It helps on the HR side too. So a lot of times standard operating procedures do kind of even link into an employee handbook we're going to be talking about in a later session. So we're going to talk about kind of how you can start with standard operating procedures. It can seem very overwhelming because there's so many asks in your business, right? From marketing to accounting, payroll, customer service. So what I recommend is that you start, and the document I'm going through right now is actually going to be a document that you can download. There will also be a download of an example standard operating procedure template that you can use. Not the pure all be all. This is meant to work for you. So if there's things with the template that we've provided that doesn't quite fit for your business, feel free to make it your own. There's no problem with that, or you can Google search standard operating procedures and you might find a template that you feel like works better for your business. And there's some examples here of different standard operating procedures. Again, it's all about your business. You may not have PTO and vacation time, so you don't need that standard operating procedure, but maybe you do have something very specific in your business that isn't listed here. It's absolutely the things that happen on a regular basis within your operation that you want to make sure that if you weren't there one day, it's going to operate the same way as if is when you are there. So obviously there might payroll. If you have any type of techniques within, if you're manufacturing, obviously there might be ways that you're recommending people move things around your warehouse. You might have very specific with, if you have a sales and marketing team, you may have a way that you want those sales performed. Maybe the first interaction with someone, a customer that's requested more information, is an email, but then you want to make sure there's a face-to-face meeting within a week. And after that, you want a specific brochure mailed to them. Whatever it is that's in your process, It might all be in your head, but it's really important that you've taken the time to write that down. So again, there's so many aspects of your business, and everything can have standard operating procedures for it. So it can be overwhelming. What I recommend is the section of your business that you are the most comfortable with. It's something that you love. It's the things you love to do with your business. That's where I would start because it's easier for you to start getting in the flow of that, and then make a goal of what section you want to add on next. And this can be as detailed as you want, or maybe you just want to have a couple of standard operating procedures for the areas of your business that you think that if they don't stay the same, then that's what's going to drastically affect whether it's your profitability or your customer satisfaction. But take the section that you find most important for your business, and you can start there. Again, if you need any help with any of these, we are here to support you and help explain. But really, this is an example here of a standard operating procedure. Again, absolutely does not have to look this. There are no standard operating procedure police. This is for you. We want it to be usable. So if it doesn't work for you, create it how you want to create it. But what is usually pretty standard to help you organize everything is that you've come up with some kind of numbering consistency, right? So maybe you have a SOP numbering system that is the initial of like the section. So let's say marketing, and then it just starts with 001. So M001 is our first operating procedure. M002 is our second. But some way that you can organize this that makes sense for you. So you don't have to do that, just best practice. So you can come up with some kind of a numbering system. If you have different departments, you can enter that there. But basically, all this at the top in the yellow is just for your own organization on how you want to organize these, because standard operating procedures should really grow with you over the lifetime of your business. So if you enter in a new product or a new service, first thing you should look at if you're really practicing use of these standard operating procedures is, okay, we're launching this new product. How did we go about that? What are the best practices with this? And you're creating standard operating procedures throughout that whole timeline for that. This author, reviewer, authorizer, read by, this is really more of a cover page. So this is where, when I said this is helpful for HR, there are certain things that if you are guided by HR policy, let's say you have a uniform policy and your employees can get reprimanded for not following a uniform policy. Well, if you have that policy and you've stated it and you have it in writing, and you don't have your employees sign off on that, it's going to be harder for you to enforce that. So this can help protect you too. If you ever want to have any type of reprimand for a policy, by having this documentation that you've had them say that they know that they can't have visible piercings or they have to wear their hair up or whatever it might be. By having them sign it, it helps you reinforce some of those things that are important to you within your business. So this is more of a cover page of who wrote it, was the last time it was updated. And then as those policies, if they are updated and they do have any type of enforceability to them as far as your HR policies go, it's really important that you do have your employees sign that. This here are example sections of what can be included in a standard operating procedure. Again, if any of this does not apply to your business, just delete it. But typically you have kind of a purpose, why is this action important in our business? What's the scope? What departments does it usually affect? Is this a standard operating procedure that marketing and accounting are responsible for? Definition. So if there's any terminology that's specific to your business, you might want to define that there. Who's responsible? Be careful with the responsibilities. Who's responsible, that you're not using individuals' names, but positions. So, this is the accounts payable processor, or this is the CEO, or this is the business owner. But you want to have it to where it's relevant no matter who is in that position. And then this here is where you actually align the specific procedures. This is how you operate payroll. This is how we invoice. Then here, this forms and templates. To really be organized, what's nice here is, and there's going to be instructions at the bottom here of how you can take these documents and put them in some type of a cloud format like Google Drive or Dropbox. But where these can really be beneficial is, let's say that we're doing this for payroll or our accounts receivable, right? Accounts receivable. So we're invoicing. Well, if we have a standard invoice template that I have saved that I want all of my employees to use, then I would actually want to link that here. So if I have that saved in a Google Drive or a Dropbox or whatever type of cloud specific software you use, you could actually link that directly into the SOP. So that way, if somebody's looking at this SOP and they're like, okay, great, I know how they want me to invoice now, what's the template? They could click on it and have it right there. Again, we're trying to enforce consistency to help increase productivity and increase the chances that everything we're doing to our consumers is consistent. If you don't use some type of an online software, I mean, that's fine. You could list that the forms or the template be used for this specific standard operating procedure is the most up-to-date invoice, and maybe say this be found in our, documents or our shared drive or whatever it might be. But if you're starting this from the very beginning, you do use any type of a cloud technology, we would recommend uploading all of your templates and actually hyperlinking them here so that your employees have the most up-to-date template as possible. Again, here, this is additional information. If you feel like you need to add it to the document, don't have to if you don't want to. It's more external references. So if you have something that you feel like somebody might need training, or they may need to look at some other area to truly understand the standard operating procedure or to implement it, you could create those links there. Again, it's meant to be kind of dummy proof. If you have somebody that's new to the business, or maybe they're new to this role, that they look and they don't have to go and ask every single person in the office, how do I do this? They should be able to look at the standard operating procedure and be able to start working on that task. And then change history here, this is just a matter of, if you've updated it, putting that date there, effective date, significant changes. Again, it's just for you to be able to look back and know, is this the most up to date? If we've changed something, have we updated our standard operating procedure? So at the bottom of this, when I was talking about Google Drive, Dropbox, this is just kind of a quick walkthrough of how you could use those apps and link them within your standard operating procedures. So with this video, you're going to have this document that kind of walks you through it. You are also going to have this template separated out, as well as just a general example that you might want to use. This is obviously doing it through like a Word document. I mean, if you really wanted to, there are applications out there, software out there for standard operating procedures as well that are obviously paid plans. This is a way that you can start doing it internally that doesn't cost you anything. Probably, as you're seeing, if you are now in a situation where you're forced to work remotely and you have employees that are working remotely and everybody is kind of like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I have to do this job now and I have to do this. That's where these standard operating procedures can come into really, beneficial, because then if you have this all in one spot, it allows you less transition time, less downtime when something does change within your operation. So again, this is something that you probably know the ins and outs of your business. You know how you operate. You know how things are done. You've just maybe never had the time to sit down and put it on paper. And if you find yourself with trying to strategize and find ways to stay busy, this might be something that could help you in the long run to go ahead and get these documents in place and start that process as you on ramp after we're all allowed to go back to our daily lives. So again, this are things that we do help you with through the Small Business Development Center. So this is here as a template, but absolutely if you need one-on-one advice or assistance, we always provide that through the Small Business Development Center Our office oversees the 6 counties around Vigo, but there is a local office that supports every county in Indiana. And so if you are not in one of those 7 counties that West Central oversees, you can go to w.isbdc.org. There's a locations tab, and you can find who your local consultant is based on your county to receive assistance.